Yo, what's happening, people? Welcome to Freks Knows Best. It's time to ingest the man. I've got my boy. This is the guy. He goes by the name of Ell Bongo. Bro, welcome to my podcast. How are you doing?
I'm well, bro. How are you?
Yeah, all good. No complaints. All I can say is that I'm on this journey with this podcast. I'm going to see how it rolls. I really appreciate you coming on this journey with me as well, because I know a lot of my stories, but it's not just about me on these podcasts. It's a bit more about my guests, and I want them to know, and I want to know, because there's probably conversations we're going to have today that I don't know about you. So that's what I want to go with, you know.
During
So
gigs, we don't get to chat as much as we like.
look, bro, we're professionals, you know. We go
Exactly.
there, we entertain, we perform. We're not going to have little conversations while we got a crowd to please. So let's start with obviously it's January. It's the beginning of the year. We know as us musicians it can be quiet, but let's start with New Year's Eve. Where were you at New Year's Eve? What did you do, and how's your January been so far?
New Year's was a big one, to be fair. I was at an event called Sunana.
Okay.
I do a residency for them. They're based in Essex. So the event was at Sugar Art.
Right.
It was sold out. It was like 900 people.
Right.
Yeah, the crowd was just, the main room was just mad. Like, you couldn't move. I was in like a corner. I was just doing the roaming bongos, but I just only had like a little corner to play because there was just so many heads. Just
What was
like,
the countdown? The countdown, was it a bit epic?
the countdown was
bro?
mad. Yeah, but the security were trying to get everyone off the stage, like where I was,
Yeah.
for the countdown, but it just didn't happen. There was too many people. The security couldn't get near them.
Man, good luck with
Yeah,
that one. When everyone wants to get that
exactly,
moment, look, social media countdown is chaos, right?
exactly.
Because everyone, whether they be trying to get that footage for Instagram,
Hmm.
Snapchat, whatever, TikTok, everyone's looking for that moment. And I've spoken to previous guests on here as well,
Yeah,
and I've talked about Sushi Samba, and yeah, like I said, that was where I was at. Epic,
yeah,
39th floor, 360 view of like all these fireworks going off. Pretty goddamn epic. So
mad.
January, I know how it is
January.
for us musicians.
Mm.
How's it been for you so far, January?
To be fair, it's been alright. I mean, I did take a bit of time off at the start just because I
Mm.
had such a mad, hectic December that I felt I needed a bit of a break, just to
Yeah,
that bit of downtime, like because the whole
yeah.
year's been pretty mad.
It's funny
Um,
you touching on that because December was madness, isn't it, bro? Right.
yeah,
Explain to everyone. It's just if there's any time of the year, this December is just a madness one.
any reason for a party, innit? Like it's just any.
I'm so over the Christmas songs though, man. I'm gonna be
Oh
honest with
no,
you. Anyone
man.
listening, man, I'm over it. You know what I mean? That Christmas playlist is getting put into the archives again because, man, I'm just Mariah Carey saxophone. Nah,
Bro, have you not? I'm surprised you don't sing Mariah Carey.
no, bro. I mean, put it this way, I think that's the great thing with the sax. I can hide behind it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And save everyone from the vocals. The vocals come out a couple of times, maybe a bit of shower and that, but
Mm.
otherwise, the sax. I'm happy just to hide behind the sax. So I've been lucky. I mean, on my front, January's been It's been pretty new things because Sushi
Yeah.
Samba kind of stopped. It's on the back burner for a while. It's on a few changes there. So one door
Mm.
closes, another one opens. So
Exactly, bro.
we'll rock and roll. So this is the part where I would like to go back. Now we're going back, way back into time. From the beginning, man. What
Yeah.
got you into percussion, drums, and so on? Tell the
Oh,
audience. They want to hear
so I
this.
was back in school, man. Like there was this
Mm.
dude in school. He was just like the coolest guy ever, and he was obviously a drummer. And he played the kit in
Right.
all the school concerts, like everything. And I would
Mm.
literally, this is probably the most uncoolest thing I've ever done. But I joined the school choir just to sit and watch him play the drums, and I was just fascinated. I was fixated on what he was doing, man. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
after the session, like the rehearsals, I just go up to him and like sit there and just ask him to show me something, and
Yeah.
I'd just be like fascinated, man.
Are you
So
still in
that
contact with this guy now? Do you know? Do you know what he's doing
I've
or?
got him on Facebook, yeah, but I don't
Okay.
really chat to him
Okay.
anymore. But
Okay.
yeah, man, like it was just he was the coolest guy, and I just wanted to be like him, like because the drummer was just so cool, man. Like he had the biggest setup, like huge drums,
Yeah,
like the best
yeah,
drums you can get as well.
yeah,
And it was just like sparkling. It just
yeah, yeah,
had me. It caught me. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you have
um,
lessons? Did you have lessons at all?
yeah.
Was it self-taught?
So after that, I was just banging on anything I could in the house.
Mhm.
And my parents, obviously cliche, parents get annoyed. You're banging
Of
pots of
course,
pans, everything.
of course.
So it comes to about year 9 or 10. I'm in
Mhm.
a school basketball team,
Mhm.
and they basically get a tournament to go to Barbados and compete in a tournament.
All right.
Um, and at this time, I really, really wanted to start lessons and like get my own drum kit. So I said to my dad, like, I'm in the basketball team and they want me to go to Barbados for this tournament, but I also want a drum kit. My dad was like, oh, you can either have one or the other. What's it gonna be?
Ooh,
So I actually chose the drum kit instead of going to the Caribbean, man. Like, but
ooh, that's
this to this
close.
day, like, it's
Yeah,
I wouldn't be where I am now if that decision was different. Do you know what I
best
mean?
move,
So,
man. If you think about
yeah,
it,
man,
bro,
it's the
best
best move.
move.
Yeah,
Yeah, 100%. Even though my roots is Barbados, that's where one half of my family are from.
yeah, exactly. I know.
But
Yeah,
man, I totally get it, bro. And look at the and look where it's at now because your journey. So
exactly.
you started with that. You got your lessons.
Mm,
Now, as a musician, the next stage is getting out and playing with
yeah.
people. So, what's your first memory of getting out there and kind of like mixing
First
it up with some
memory.
other cats? Yeah, with
Yeah.
your so
So,
bringing your skills to another like organization, really.
so I didn't actually get in any bands at school.
Right.
It was only until I went to like a music school. I went to BIM in Brighton. I went down to
Ah,
Brighton. Yeah. Studied in Brighton where you are now,
my
man.
ends. Yeah, yeah.
Obviously Brighton it's a huge music scene. Like,
Big time.
so I got into the scene there. Like, started meeting people, other musicians,
Hmm.
like getting into bands, and just yeah, working with other musicians. That was the first sort of experience with other
Hmm.
musicians. So it was quite daunting actually, like going into a big music school
Yeah.
and like yeah, man, just never played live before, and
Yeah.
then you get thrown into the deep end.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I hear you with
yeah,
music school because music school was a game changer for me because one is, I, whether people believe it or not, I was shy back in the
yeah,
days,
same, me too.
right? And music school, meeting other people, musicians, and that just brought me out of my shell and put me
Exactly.
into uncomfortable places, which is so beneficial for what we do now because
Mhm.
we go into these environments and it's pretty
I
much
know.
like you guys got to rock it and whatever nerves you go, get rid of because people want the
Exactly.
performance. So it's put us in good stead. Now, when you was in Brighton,
Mm.
and I've noticed a lot down here with this vibe, is did you ever do any busking down here?
Yeah, when I in a band, when I was
Hmm.
part of the band, Normanton Street, they were quite a big band actually. They're
Right.
like hip hop, soul, R&B kind of vibe.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I was like on a little cajon, the Spanish cajon, like box drum,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, it was like acoustic, and we'd go out and, like just do a bit of busking. Obviously, to get it's promo as well for the band. Like
Hmm.
if we're doing a show that night, we go out during the day, get people to the show.
Yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. Of course, and it's good. Yeah, for me, it was got into the busking down there when it was COVID. So I know us
mm,
musicians got hit hard during that part, and again, I was just testing out some things, and you definitely can use it to one promote your social media, advertising because you
yeah.
draw a lot of attention there, or wherever you want to
Mm.
spend to. So, but the busking down there compared to London is like you're not getting chucked off your spot.
Hassle.
They
Yeah,
seem to love it down here. It's not like in
yeah.
London. They'll be like, "Well, do you have a license for that?" Here they just seem to let you just rock and roll and do your
Mm.
thing, which is great. And the locals seem to love it as well. It's not like they're telling you, keep
Yeah,
that noise
100%.
down, shut up, you, all that. They're just all like, bring it on, which I love. And I think one of my famous memories were I was playing liquid drum and bass on the sax down there, and
Mad, yeah.
the the elderly were loving it the
They were
most.
loving it. It's
They were
going off.
going past it. I thought this is such a cool area. So I just want for our listeners because some listeners might not know much on the technical side
Mm.
of what you do and the instruments you use. So I understand you have multiple instruments you use or percussion, should I say,
Yeah.
drums you use. Could you explain the different names and the kind of different type of drums you use for your performances?
Yeah, so I use the djembe, which originated from Africa, West
Okay.
Africa. So I'm actually trained in that. Like a couple of years in to doing what I do, the percussion, live percussion.
Hmm.
I thought I'd get lessons, and I went to a djembe master. He's like a
Right.
djembe
A
fola.
djembe master, you know.
That's what they call him in Africa. They call him a djembe fola.
L-
Um,
Love that.
but yeah, he's from Senegal. He lives local
Mhm.
actually to where I
Right.
come from, Crawley. So
Right.
yeah, I hit him up and got actually probably lessons for about 2 years with him. So yeah, he trained
Nice.
me. He trained me to the
Uh-huh.
traditional rhythms and techniques. So
Hmm.
that's the djembe. I also use
Djembe.
bongos, which are
Hmm.
a Latin instrument for
Right.
like salsa and
Hmm.
rhythms like that. But
And so
they're
people
like,
know because they're the small ones compared
yeah,
to because people
they-
sometimes get those two names with the conga
yeah,
goes as well. Do you know what I mean as well? So
yeah. They're
okay.
pretty similar, but obviously the bongos are
Hmm.
the smaller versions, and you use two of them.
Yes.
Whereas congas you can
Hmm.
use one, two, three. But yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Right.
I also use a darbuka. It's like the
Okay.
Turkish drum.
Uh-huh.
I haven't got the technique down properly for that. It's mad finger technique.
Okay.
But, but yeah,
So all these
I
drums,
like to
they've
play
got
around.
different techniques. All these drums, right? So
Yeah,
they've got different techniques. Like, man, see, I'm learning. This is why I've set this up because I'm
yeah,
learning.
exactly,
And
man.
these are the
Yeah,
questions where I normally don't get to ask as well.
you can get
Cool.
different
All right.
tones. You get different tones out of
Mm-hmm.
the drum. Like there's not just one sound.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
pretend, yeah, depending on the way you hit the drum, to strike it,
Mm-hmm.
you get a different
Mm-hmm.
sound out of it. So what part of
Right.
the hand you use. So yeah,
Yeah. That makes sense. And
man.
I've done gigs with you, and I remember you brought down a proper setup. Like you had the cymbals
Mm.
and so on as well. So you can have like a mini percussion setup as well, right?
Yeah,
With some of your
exactly.
gigs.
That's where you get the sticks out and you make it more of like a drum kit, like a proper. It's for like a big crowd. You get the cymbals
Yeah.
out. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think like for everyone who's listening, here's a story, and I'm gonna let Mr. Ell Bongo explain. So we met. Our first gig was with the famous twins. Will go by the name of Black Birdcage.
Yeah,
Is
bro.
that correct? Can you
That's
remember
correct, man.
like that gig and how it? Can you remember? It was. I remember it was at the beginning of the year. I'm trying to remember.
Mm.
Can you remember what venue it was at?
Yeah,
It's
bro.
like a
It was a
famous
sick venue.
theatre.
Proud Embankment.
That's the one, bro. Proud
Yeah, it's a
Embankment,
proper venue.
and they went out. Yeah, the Black Birdcage went full out. Like we had these
Yeah, bro.
was it people on stilts
Yeah.
with the lasers doing the lasers. We had the dancers. We had many dancers. We had me and you with LED
LED,
saxophone and bongos.
head to toe in LED, bro. Yeah.
Yep. And we were getting changed. We all got changed in this like changing room. Like everything. Like it was chaos. But at the same time, I
Yeah.
got to meet you. And big shout out to Blackbird Cage because
Yeah, shout
they're a
out.
massive part of my start of my journey on this, and they
Mm.
really did help me out at the beginning. Yeah, I love them girls, so big shout out to them. But that's kind of started our connection with our journey, and whenever there was gigs, like obviously you'll be chucking it like, can you do this? And I'll be the same with you. Can you do this? And
Hundreds.
we've had a couple of gigs where we've aligned up, but we've had that one. What's that crazy event we do early hours in the morning? Like we're up there like 7 o'clock in the morning or something.
Oh man, mad.
What's that
The
one?
Excel Centre.
It's like yeah, the XL Center, dude. That one's just when you look back at it, you're just like 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're having to be in game mode.
Exactly.
And this venue, for anyone listening, it's massive. It's a beast of a venue, and the
Hundreds
way
of
we started
thousands.
off the first year in it, we started off with my little speaker, PA speaker, and us two playing in front of the speaker, right? And we caused such a vibe from them. They booked us again for the following year, and then we upgraded again to the stage for that vibe, and now they want us back again. So they seem to be loving what we're doing. But when we got into that second year and we put the speakers went around the whole kind of like arena.
Yeah.
Man, what a difference that made, bro. Eh?
That's a full sound, wasn't it?
Man, I was thinking, so that's what we sound like. We sound all right. Yeah, man. So when you're looking at gigs, like, how's the gigs going for you, like, nowadays, and what you up to today in the present time?
Yeah, really good, man. I mean, get booked well in advance now. I mean, 2025 is just like half full. It's crazy. Like, but I do a lot of residencies as well. So, I mean, shout
Yeah,
out the
yeah,
residencies that
yeah, yeah.
they don't book you in advance, but they'll hit you
Mhm.
up and I'll always be there for them. Like,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah,
they're some of the best events that I play at,
yeah, yeah.
man.
I hear you.
Yeah, like I've got one this weekend. It's
Hmm.
the event's birthday, first birthday, and they're
Right.
throwing a party. It's gonna be mad. It's in a wedding venue, but they've booked it out. Like they're just a house event, and they've booked out a wedding venue. Like, and it's gonna be like 800-900 people. It's crazy. So
Bro,
yeah, man, looking forward to this
yo, they're
weekend.
smart. They're smart because it's not gonna be
Yeah,
that expensive booking out a wedding
no,
event for this time of year. That's a smart move,
exactly.
man.
That's a smart move. Yeah, because there's not
Mm.
many. It's not really wedding season, is it? It's
No,
Feb.
no.
It's coming into
Yeah,
Feb.
yeah, yeah. Bro, I mean, it's good because we got the residencies, and once you got the residencies, you kind of like gives you a little peace of mind, especially with the
Yeah,
line of work we're in,
yeah.
and then also because they want you back, it kind of gives you a little bit like, all right, that's cool because I must be doing my bit for them to keep calling us back.
Exactly.
I've also learned with this line of work that I try not to get too comfortable with one venue for too long
Yeah,
because I understand every venue needs a change. They can't keep having the same thing.
100%.
So I try to not to be too get too caught up sentimental with venues or personal when I have to when they say, oh, we're gonna change things up, we're gonna move on. I just keep trying to get things to keep moving. I keep looking for new things to plant some seeds
Yeah.
and try to keep moving because I feel like we're learning as we go along. Like this is all pretty new, and I think this is the whole point of setting up the podcast was to have this discussion with people like yourself and other performers, musicians, DJs, because it's this new kind of wave where everyone's mixing with everyone, and there's a lot more work out there for us than it has been for musicians. But that actually nicely brings me on to the next bit because I haven't talked about this on any other podcasts,
No.
but I feel like you might understand with the market because we've been in it for a little while.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit crowded,
Oh,
bro. There's a
100%.
lot of like
There
up and
is.
coming, which has
Yeah.
seen they've been seeing what we're doing, and they're like, "Yo, I want some of that." Jeez. So it's like we're having to even more make sure our game is good because we know
Exactly.
like you drop it, everyone's replaceable. We're all replaceable, and if you're not naive and you're not humble, and then you'll get caught. Definitely, if your
100%.
trousers down with that situation. But how you finding it with that? Are you finding like you have to change up a bit? You're doing more on social media.
Yeah.
What's your vibe at the
Yeah,
moment?
exactly that, bro. Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely more con the social media side. Definitely posting more regularly because you gotta like keep relevant. I just feel as well. Like it's very easy for people to forget like what you're doing, or you gotta keep posting. Like make sure people are aware. Um, Obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm still like developing I call it the Ell Bongo experience. Like it's like the show, like it's an experience, man. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So you
love
gotta
that.
keep it fresh, like try new ideas, like do you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, bro, totally. Look, I've I've created this podcast again to
yeah,
be relevant,
no, it's
you
a
know,
great idea.
because it's like, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with the listeners. It's like social media after a while when you've been doing it for so long. Because I was in a
Yeah,
band before this, and they will know this because I've talked about this on previous podcasts. But I was in charge of social media. When you have to do a post every day, it just gets
yeah,
on you, man. Like just trying to force something to
exactly.
say. So if I'm inspired and I'm feeling very inspired for this, it gives me content that I want to put out there, you know, instead of just forcing some content or just repeating
Yeah,
something I put up there or finding a photo from 2 years ago and saying, oh, I wish I could go back there.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Then posts, I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? So, and it's true because that brought me onto the point I was saying before. Was it's just, I understand there's some cats coming up, especially
yeah,
saxophonists, and it's fierce. bro. It is fierce. Like before, I'll be rolling. Like there's no
Mm.
relaxing. I know I do my bit, but next, you're like, hang on a minute, we got some young fresh meat here, which are ready, and they got
Yeah.
game. So, everyone, I feel like in this game, anyone who's listening and you're trying to find your feet, my advice to you is just find your niche.
100.
Try not to worry about what any other person's
Yeah.
doing. Be aware that they're there, but try to find
Mm.
your thing and make sure what you're doing, you're just keeping things interesting for yourself, because it can take its toll that you don't want to neglect social media, because it's a
Yeah.
key part to us for the
Exactly.
work, as well. So, all right. So, how about anything internationally, my brother? Any plans for anywhere abroad this
Yeah,
year?
there is actually, man. I got a couple of destination weddings booked in. So got
Gee.
Croatia in June. Yeah, man, that would be a sweet one with
Yeah.
DJ Tony Nichols. He's a legend,
Okay. Big up, Tony. Yeah,
man.
yeah. Croatia, man, bro. Croatia
Yeah,
is
I'm
definitely
excited.
tick
I've not
list. So
been.
I look forward
Yeah.
to seeing that. Bro, it's on my tick list. I've seen a lot of footage. The scenery is
Mm.
supposed to be amazing. So, bro, please put that footage out, because I definitely need to see it and convince me. I'm definitely gonna have to go
Yeah,
do
bro.
that, man. Wicked. What about
Yeah,
Ibiza?
well, I'm going out there for
Anything?
my birthday in July, to be fair. So I'm gonna take the
July when?
drums.
Sorry,
Yeah, man.
July when?
What's that, sorry?
When in July? When in
Uh,
July?
well, I haven't booked it yet, but I'm thinking around like 20th, something like that.
Because my birthday's July
Yeah,
15th,
yeah.
bro.
Well, it's
So
my
I mean,
30th this
that
year.
might sway me, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Right? I'm sorry.
Yeah, man, I know,
What?
man.
What did you just say? Jeez, man,
So
I'm
it's a big,
old.
that's a big one
I'm
though.
old.
So yeah, I'm gonna go all out, bro. I'm gonna take the
Yeah,
drums. Obviously, just play anywhere,
damn
man.
right, bro. Get that
Yeah.
vibe out there. Get that vibe. If you're gonna do it, get your vibe out there with the drums. I want to do that with the
Mm.
sax this year, and to follow on for what you were saying about your 30th. I done my
Yeah.
30th out there a bit epically, and there was 22 of us, and we went to the villa. We
Mm.
hired out a villa, and yeah,
Yeah,
say
exactly.
no more. It was a crazy weekend. Um, but yeah, bro, we never know, because I've spoken to a couple other heads on the
Mm.
podcast, and everyone, there seems to be a real vibe with all of us musician DJs and performers all wanting to get out there this year and kind of make
Yeah,
some
100%.
noise and all that. So hopefully, bro, our paths will align, because
I hope so.
I feel it's inevitable. I won't feel completed with this whole sax journey unless I've got like some IB
Exactly,
underneath the
bro.
belt, and I'll be talking to other heads, saying to them like, these female saxophonists have been
Mm.
lording it up a lot, man. Big shout out to lovely Laura, but man, it's time.
It's
It's time for some dread on the sax to come and give it some vibes on the island, man. You know what I mean? So, now, man, I look forward to hearing those
yeah,
stories,
same, bro.
brother, because I think for us, our logical progression is getting out there. I was already out there with the band and living in
Yeah.
the Caribbean, and I can't encourage it anymore about getting out there as musicians and playing to different cultures,
Mm.
energies, different environments. Like the UK's cool, but we get this on a regular. It's just to keep us
Yeah.
stimulated, man. Getting out there, getting some of that vitamin D while getting paid for it. Do you know what I mean? And playing that instrument, man. I know you're hating. Whoever's listening to us is probably hating us, but listen, it hasn't always been like this. It's been a journey to get here. It's not like we woke up one day and we were like, yo, we're just going to jump straight
Innit?
into this. Like, trust me. There's a whole backlog, and I think people more and more they listen to my podcast. There's gonna be stories where they're gonna hear like, yeah, it hasn't always been
Yeah.
plain sailing for me, but I'm glad to where we've got, and I'm glad that we get to do something which is like connections
Mm.
with people and put on a vibe and celebrations, which is pretty much our job. So a little bit about like in the period, like I always ask most of the podcasters, because I'm always thinking like a big change for me was the
Yeah.
lockdown. When the lockdown happened, a lot of change of thought, thinking, planning. When you was in
Mm.
lockdown, did you thinking, right, I need to make different plans to what you was doing before, or you just carried on like that's normal? What was it? How did lockdown
It
affect
did
you?
affect me quite a bit. I was lucky
Mm.
enough, like fortunate enough, to actually get in with boat club events, and they started putting on like outside raves. Obviously, where you could, yeah, you used to
Ah,
have to sit
okay.
at a table and like only like a certain
Uh
amount
huh.
of people at a table. Um,
Hmm.
they had like Trent Park, um, as an outdoor venue. that was sick. Um, yeah, those sort
Uh-huh.
of things kept me going because like they were like in the peak during the summer, like when
Hmm.
I was getting down because I didn't have many gigs, but
Yeah.
I had them
Yeah,
to look
yeah, of
forward to.
course.
But
Uh-huh.
also, I started to look into teaching as well, and how I could sort of
Nice.
take that past COVID, like where I can get into schools and set up my own studio and have students come to me. Um, but obviously, I moved house now, so now I've got to start again with the studio ideas. But yeah, man, that sort of got me through those
Yeah.
ideas.
Mm, mm-hmm. And I suppose this is what you're just saying is I'm glad you managed to keep going
Yeah,
with the playing. I found it. I was only doing teaching on Zoom when it
yeah,
came to the playing, and maybe a couple of bits when I moved down to Brighton
mm,
for busking. But I think the whole my thought process was like I was looking forward to everything opening up again because I had that feeling that it was going to be a
yeah,
tsunami
yeah,
of gigs which were going to come, and I was waiting, for that little rush, and that's how I met Black
mm,
Birdcage because they were the first ones with the rush. I'm going to ask you because I learnt my trade. I'm going to tell everyone here because it wasn't
yeah,
natural for me, whether people believe it or not. Because when I've been playing the saxophone, I've been playing
mm,
in a band. But lockdown, what that done was certain venues. And I'm not sure if you remember, like
yeah,
certain venues. Actually, I do remember seeing one post with you, and you had your mask on while playing the bongos. I think I
yeah,
saw it on your social media, right? So This is a funny
yeah, mm,
story because I remember I come down and normally everyone you have to wear a mask just to walk to
yeah.
the table. It was outside. You have to wear a mask just to get to the table. Once you get to the table, take off your mask. Why that
Oh, it's
happened,
ridiculous
I
idea, isn't
don't
it?
know. Didn't make
No.
sense. Right. Anyway, so I come down to play the
Mm.
sax, and the security guard looked at me and said,
How are you
"Where's
gonna
your
play
mask?"
with a mask
He
on?
said to me, "Wait," and that's why I looked at him. I was like, "You for real?" And then he looked and he was like, "What am I?" When he even stops
Yeah.
himself, he's
What?
like, What am I saying that?" So for jokes, I even carried a mask with a little
No
slit
way.
just in case for banter. I thought I could put that on just for banter, but I knew I wasn't gonna do it. But I had that
Mm.
there just in case some venues wanted to cause some fuss because it made no
Exactly.
sense. Now, when I was learning, like what that forced me to do, because a lot of the people were not allowed to stand
Mm.
up from the tables, right? So that forced me to go around to
Yeah.
different tables, right? And I had to force myself into people's faces. Before, I left it to people's choices if they
Yeah.
wanted to
You'd be
come to
more
the
reserved.
stage
Yeah.
and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Right. But that put me into places where I had to go there, and it's like somebody saying dance boy, and you're like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I was like, but I learned
Mm.
so much from that it's put me into good stead for now because um, it taught me how to
Yeah.
relate to different groups. You could be walking over to a rowdy table with boys, like, oh, yeah, so you know how to deal with them. You got the ladies, which are all dressed up. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
fire, and they're like, you know what I mean? They're like all that stuff. You got the LD crew. You just
Exactly.
learn how to adapt to different places. So when I walked into, especially for this line of work I'm doing now, when I walk into places I don't know, I'm comfortable
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of that. So in a positive way, COVID kind of broke down the barrier for me with playing the sax and taught me with a lot more just kind of breaking that barrier and just getting there and entertaining. And I found that has definitely done me good stead for myself. Now, for yourself, have you found your performances getting better from the beginning? Obviously, I can imagine it is, but do you feel like you're more comfortable? Or how was it for the first one? Like, how were you for the first
Oh
performance,
man, my
brother?
confidence has definitely come on leaps and bounds. Yeah, bro. Like I just it's mad.
Ridiculous.
From the first performance, yeah, I
Yeah.
was like so nervous. Like it's a different thing as well. Like as a drummer,
Mm.
um, you're sat behind a kit, like at, with a band. Like you're at the back of the stage, you're behind a kit. Like no one really sees you. But if you're doing roaming bongos
Mm.
and percussion to like people out in the crowd, like you got to walk around and be interactive. Like it's just a whole different ball game. So yeah, like the first
That's
ever
it,
gig
bro.
doing that, it was just like alien. It was so
Hmm.
weird. Like didn't feel comfortable with myself. Like
Yeah.
a bit reserved. But now, man, like yeah, my confidence is through the roof. Like I'm confident in my abilities, like and my showmanship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man.
And I'm telling you guys, whoever's listening or watching, I'm telling you right now, man's got skills. Trust me. They're playing all over. We bounce. Our energy is like we've always meant to be just bouncing of each other. We just look at each other. There could be a quiet room. As soon as me and him starts, jeez, it is going off, and we just vibe. And the guy's got vibes. He's got skill. He's got a wicked smile, which shines out with the ladies. You can see them all like, oh, look at that. Get their Instagrams, all this stuff and all that, man. Look, as much as anything, it's that all comes. And I'm so glad you shared that with us, because it's just for people to understand, like, at the beginning, it's difficult what we do. I mean, we're living it, but it's difficult when you got a demanding crowd, which they want to have a great time, and they deserve it. But for us, we're listening to what the DJs do. We're engaging with the crowd. We're also having to do stuff with our instruments. We're multitasking 24/7. We make it look easy, but there's moments where we have to deal with microphones might not be working. They don't see it, but we're catching on to that because we're trying to listen. The sound of what we're producing out, the speaker, is it balanced? There's multiple things going on in our heads. And we have to kind of put on the performance.
And not let it bother you. Not
crazy
let it bother
factors.
You either. Like, and you just got to crack on.
Because the famous line, the show must go on. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? No matter what. And I've learned that from music school. It's like, no matter what, Ruben, whatever you're doing, solo or anything, just keep going. Exactly. The show must go on. And I feel like that's what I wanted this podcast to be, so people can understand like what we're actually doing, and a little bit of appreciation, like the amount of factors, like you said, which I think I really like that point, the multiple factors that we have to pay attention to just to put on that performance for you guys. Man, there you go. And we love it. Wouldn't change the thing. And I can't get enough of it. It's like a buzz and a drug for me every time. It's like that adrenaline buzz. Is like they get it from performances, especially when you hit something and you understand this. When me and you could be doing something and we hit that moment and we both look at each other like, that was it. Contact, yeah. Yeah, just the eye contact, like, oh shit, because I can't say nothing with a saxophone in my mouth. You know what I mean? All I've got is eyes. Like, oh shit. Man, bro, they're moments you can't beat those moments at all. Like with what we do, and we get to do this, man, like regularly, bro. I mean, I'm very humble. Exactly. I'm feeling very blessed, man. I wanted to. What did I want to look into? Because I think you might have mentioned it earlier on. It was. I think it was playing. No, we've done the international. I think it was. Presents, anything you're doing recording, that was a bit I wanted to talk about. Have you done any recordings or anything for tracks, or is that something you would like
It's
to
something
do?
I would like to do more. I mean, I have had like DJs approach me at gigs and say like we should do a recording session, but it's just getting it locked in. Like, I mean, I've had a lot of people kind of interested, but it's getting it locked in and going forward with it. But yeah, it's definitely something 2024 I want to definitely get into more.
Have you ever looked into like producing yourself?
I haven't, no. I mean, it is something I have touched on like at music school. It's just I spend so much money on my gear, like the drums, as I've got to obviously get all the other gear for the production side. But you've got to build that up, haven't you?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got any production gear or software.
Bro, I've got it all happening, man. I've got it all here. Producing, like, before I went away to Antigua, like, I started producing when I was about 18, 19, when I left, I joined college, and I'd done a popular music course, which just taught you, like, I'm going to show my age. You had, like, a keyboard with a PC, and you were writing tunes on that, and it was unheard of back then. You know, that was just like, what you're doing. You have to book time to go down the studio to write a tune. So all the way through up till I was about 32, 33, before I moved out to Antigua, I had to sell all the equipment I've built up all those years. You know, my speakers and all of that, just to get me the funds, just to get out there, because I was just taking this leap of faith with this new journey of mine. Since coming back, it's been a slow process, because actually I came back with nothing. I was sleeping around on sofas, and now I moved down to Brighton, got my own place, and I've just started to build the studio back. And I'll be getting back into production. So, 100%, brother. If I get any movements and all of that, I'll be chucking some stuff your way. Because, I mean, it'd be rude not to have a Ell Bongo title on one of my tracks. It'd be rude. I can't have that, brother. Definitely. It's not happening. So, yeah, you know it. It's inevitable, man. Every time we meet up, something's happening. So we have to record it, man, because there's moments where no one's recorded it, and that's what's great about moments. Only me and Mr. Bongo knows that moment. But if we can record something on one of my music productions, that would be amazing. So I'll definitely on the.
You've recorded a track,
just for yourself, Sax Machine. Yeah, I've done a podcast with the couple Sunana, which are the ones which produced that track, and I just came down to the studio, I just wild out with some sax, and everything in that podcast is them explaining that story of how that journey all began, and how that all come together. So anyone listening, you need to go to the Sunana podcast. Definitely check out that, and you'll hear the story about Sax Machine. So yeah, pretty much. Put it this way, the way they do it, right? Just press record. They play the track, press record, and I just give some licks. And I've learned that with recording in studios is you try to do different licks with the sax. So you try to do something really high, really fast, really technical, really out there. And then I've done something a bit left field, and I think that bit left field is what they used to do Sax Machine, because the way I played the sax is not a usual way you would hear the saxophone on a track, because normally you just go and all that stuff, and I decided to give it this raspy, dirty sax, and to get that from an alto is kind of funny, because normally you need a baritone sax, which there's a lot of famous guys. The guy with the cone goes out there with his big saxophone with a cone in the end, and they create some dirty saxophone noises, man, dirty. And I'm definitely going to be investing one of those. But where are you based, bro?
Now I'm based
in
Where are you
from?
So
what's that area like? Is there a vibe around there? Or is that just a place where you go and just jam out?
Yeah. Oh man, Essex is buzzing. Obviously, the reason I'm here really is because I was in the game. Like, I sort of just banging all the clubs, man. Like when I first come up through the scene, I was coming through Essex really, because Sky High, shout out DJ Sky High, he sort of saw me on Insta, and he sort of invited me, got me down to his event. He ran a student event on a Thursday night in Romford, and he saw me as an up and comer, like through Insta, and he'd book me every week on a Thursday. I'd drive in my car from Crawley, come up to Romford every Thursday night, and just do my thing. And so from there, like coming up through the student nights, I would just progress. Like people would see me, and they'd book, like promoters would book me for Sugar Art. They'd book me for Faces. These are all big clubs in Essex, and like Essex, it's crazy. People are like, they just love clubbing and raving. So there's a big scene out in Essex.
Man, all the gigs I've played down there, everything's a vibe. Every gig I've done, everyone loves it. I've loved it. I've loved every gig I've done down there. Such a vibe, but it's such a massive place, because it's not like somebody goes, "Oh, I'm from Essex." You're like, "Oh, it's there." Yeah. It's like, hang on a minute, it could be many parts. There's many parts of Essex. And just close to wrapping up, what's the future for Mr. Ell Bongo? Where would you like to be in the next couple of years with what you're doing? What's the vision?
Like I say, I'm still developing the Ell Bongo experience. So I want to try and push it as far as I can. Like do craziness with the shows. Like maybe introduce liquids on the drums and lights and anything. Yeah, man. Like
the experience, like you just said, the experience.
Yeah. I've got a few ideas.
Bro, that sounds awesome. Like I would like to.
I just got a few ideas in the pipeline. Yeah, like how I want to take it. Yeah, man.
Man, brother, I'm just excited. I'm just excited listening to all of this because there's a place where I want to go. I want to mess around with the liquid drum and bass on the
Yeah,
sax. I think there's a market for that, so I'm working on that at the moment. So watch this space, people, and hopefully, I mean, I know we're gonna be meeting up this year. Hopefully, we get a couple of more sessions and jamming sessions together. And I feel like this is gonna be an interesting year for some next level progressions for us too, as well. So for the audience and listeners, I'm going to leave all of Ell Bongo's links, details, and all that. But anyone who's listening now, if you want to, bro, share where to find you and all that stuff, really.
So my all social media handles are at Ell Bongo 1. I think that's quite important actually as well, like to have it all the same so people easily find you. And just the website is www.ellbongo.com. So yeah, just holler at me, give me an email, text, anything, message me.
You heard the brother. If you want some vibes with a smile, you want some flossing, you wanna party, Ell Bongo's in the house. I vouch for that.
Come on, bro.
Brother, I've got to say, look, big up, bro, man. This is like my first season of doing this podcast. I've enjoyed this conversation. I've definitely learned a lot more. And now we've got to have this conversation, brother. 100%, man. And I'm excited for what you're going to do, what's going to develop from yourself, and us, of course, and selfishly, us performing together a lot more. So, big up.
Big up.
Bro, let's do this, man. Big up for yourself. This is Freks Knows Best, my brother. I'll catch you on the other side.
Me, man. Peace.
Peace. Love, brother. Peace.